Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Hoping everybody got their little dinger going off. Ding, 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 ding. Like I'm your little buzzer in your pocket. Hmm. What a way to start a Friday. Mama's buzzing in your pocket. Bringing you a little buzz. Let me see. Yes, I know Mercury is quincunx. We've got a lot of quincunx in the heavens today and throughout the weekend. I said, the weekend, as we're going into the weekend, it is buongiorno. That's about all I know. Maybe, I've been thinking of taking French and learning French. And just brushing up. Maybe something will trigger from, my French teacher. She says, it takes me on a time. My French teacher is Mr. Duval. We called him Mr. D. And I didn't want to take French at all when I went to school, but it changed every year. One year, I was in grade, I think 9 or 10, and then you had to take French because it was mandatory for graduation in grade 12. Then by the time I got to grade 10, then they said, no, it's not mandatory. And then all of a sudden, then it was off and on for being mandatory on taking French or not, or having French. And I think my resistance was because my dad was very militant. My father was very militant. He was a very loving dad, but he was very militant on education and learning certain things in education. So he was really strong on learning French and things like that. I wanted to take. It was funny. There was a computer science. It was first year for computer science in school. And I registered for it, and my father was livid. He didn't want me to learn it for whatever reason. He just had a weird feeling about the computers. It's not right. He wanted me in home ec, so I had to do, sewing and cooking, which is like, yeah, I don't mind sewing, but I'm not the person to force to do things. If I am forced to do things, I won't do it. Like I will fuck it up somehow. I'll push up against the grain in some way. That's just part of my personality. And same with when people have, when I was younger and I was said, okay, you have to make lunch. Well, why do I have to make lunch? My brother's sitting there at the table. Why do I have to make lunch? Because I'm a woman? No, that doesn't work for me. You don't tell me I have to do something because I'm this, because it's expected of you. So that's where my back gets up against the wall. When you're expected to do this. And I mean that in where people are, or where there's a push because there's an automatic expectation, because you do this, then you should answer my question, or you do this, you should, you're a female, you should cook dinner. Like, fuck you. No, it's not going to happen. If I, cooking dinner for my children or, things like that, because it's not that I have to, it's just that I have to, but I have to for all of us so that we can eat and we can nourish our body. Totally different expectations. And I feel right now, and especially where the astrology is, there's huge expectations that are out there and a lot of confusion. And the confusion is there. And the next couple of days, you're going to find that people are going to be angry. They're going to be upset. They're going to be irritable. They're going to be bitchy. And you're going to feel it too, because there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on with each and every one of us, and it's extremes. And we do have the extremes going on. There is a battle, and I think a battle that's going on within all of us on directions and which direction to go towards. And this is where you have to go and tap within you and look at your direction on where you need to go. And I've been saying that for a long time. Now, if you hear me repeat things over and over again, then you got to wake the fuck up, because I just don't say things and over and over again. It's because my guides are pushing me like I get a push, I get a tap, I get this energy that says, no, that people are not listening to you yet. People aren't hearing this yet. They have to hear it. And this is where there's a lot of, lies and deceit. And when the major energy that is going forward right now is Mars, that's chaos. That's craziness. That's, Mars is in Virgo. He's really pushing forward to get things done. And he's got an agenda. Mars, as soon as Mars went into Virgo, and I went, oh, fuck, to myself, because Mars has an agenda. He's seeing fine details and he's going through it. He's going through those fine details. Things back under the covers. and these fine details are coming out. And these fine details are looking at, which direction to go to. What road do I need to go and what feels right to me? And this morning when I was talking, as soon as I started mentioning some stuff on Instagram Live, this morning, nobody could hear me. The sound went out. There was, as soon as I mentioned a certain word, the sound went out. And that's, I thought that was like, but it happens. It's happening more often. Also on my Facebook, I get this, saying that there's this Asian dude, I don't even know who the fuck he is, saying that he owns the content of what I'm saying. So I've had to go on Facebook and discrepancies because of what he says. And I'm just like, no, he doesn't own fuck all. Like, I don't even know who he is. And so it comes up underneath and it says only I can see this. And I'm just like, okay, it's just so weird. And he's Asian. He's some Chinese idiot. So, who, if you are listening, Mr. Chinese idiot man, you don't know fuck all of me. That's all I got to say to you. And my content is what I channel and what I see and what I go by with the planetary alignments in the sky. So fuck off. So this energy that's coming forward, see, that little Mars energy, plus Mars is my ruler. Mars is the ruler of Aries and Scorpio. So you have this ruler who is very feisty. He's in this energy of Virgo, the virtuous one, this beautiful one who stands in her power. She stands in her power. She doesn't need to have the completion of somebody else. Virgos are a standalone type of energy. They're not a dependent type of energy. Not like air signs. Air signs are more dependent or codependent upon somebody else. When we go into the earth energies, they're pretty dependent energies. I mean, yes, they love fierce and deep and, all of that. But when it comes to goal setting and the direction, this is what I'm going to do. I know what I need to do. These are the details that I have to get done. And trusting in those details, trusting in themselves. It's very, it's very powerful, and with this sun in there, and we also have the sun and Mercury's leaving and going into Libra on Sunday. So, and that's when he's really going to slow down because he's going to be going retrograde in Libra. So we have, when it comes to direction, motivation, where we're going, he's slowing down. Venus is in Libra, and as she gets closer to Capricorn, she's slowing down too because she's going to be going retrograde in December, in around, Christmas. Just saying. So this is where, again, getting things together, and I feel like we have till December, to the end of December, for us to really put things together for ourselves. And that's scary because people are like, well, I don't have money for investment. I don't have money for doing a lot of this stuff. I'm not a corporation. And that's the other part too, is that because corporations are going to be the ones that will get through this. big corporations and middle corporations in there, because when it comes down to mandates and they're not looking at the corporation. They don't give a shit who the CEO of the corporation is. They're looking at the workers. And this is where things have to come together and band together with people. I just looked on our website for Calgary on who is running the candidates. There's 157 fucking people running for mayor. I have had one person, and then I couldn't even find her freaking name on there, running for mayor. I haven't had anybody come around talking about it. I haven't seen any what do you call it? Town hall calls or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing out. I'm missing out on this, because I want to know. Like, it's not just one or two. It's like 157. Like, are we going to have a forum where they can at least debate and we can question them? How crazy is that? And as my husband says, everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be in politics. Why do you want to be in politics? Like, what is the goal? Like, well, Steve goes, it's money. It's money. They want money. They want to be seen. They want to something that they want, some agenda they want to push upon there. And that's where I would like to have more of a background on them. By the look at a lot of them, and this is I always look at there's a lot of men definitely running compared to women. And when it comes to, and yeah, I know I'm going to get called out for this one, but I feel like there's a lot more, there's a higher percentage of brown people and Asians running compared to other ethnic groups. Does that make a difference? Possibly not. Maybe not. But I think it's weird. And I have my, there's I always look at things, and I try to give a benefit of the doubt. And then I look at the world and how the world is going right now. And do they have an affiliation with this? Or don't they have an affiliation with? What are their stance on COVID? What are their stance on mandatory shots and all that kind of bullshit? And this is where it's like, okay, that's where change makes. That's where things are important, is looking at these guys are the ones who make them the laws. These are the ones who implement things. These are the guys who can make your life hell. And so this is where we need more information. So now it's like, okay, now I have to go through 157 people to find out who the fuck is running and how long they've been running and all that kind of bullshit. So if anybody has any information on this, please send it my way. I'd just love to. I mean, that'd be like, okay, maybe I should throw my ring in the hat, my hat in the ring, my ring in the hat. But things are very heavy. Things are heavy and extreme. Usually I like to talk about a little bit about the world affairs and stuff like that when I go on here. So one was about Calgary and the stupid mayor thing. And the next one is, why would they give all the names of U.S. citizens and the people that helped them to the Taliban? Boy, Mars, I mean, that's another crazy shit. And what's that all about? That kind of like really bothers me. And then you hear a general coming out and stating, well, we trust them. Well, in every part of any religious Bible or book, there's always an extreme part. We have in the book of our Bible is Revelation. So there's always some extremities or extreme part in the Quran. And we know the Taliban are extremists. There's an extreme part that says that, and I don't know the wording of it, but it's basically saying that they can lie and they can be deceitful for God. So this is where we got to, really band together and stay in our light. This is when grounding and staying in our positivity in order to bring in the light. The more we do it, the more we're able to do it, the more power there is. This is where we have to really come into our heart center. And I know I just lost a bunch of people on my scope because they don't want to hear it. They're just like, well, we just want to hear about love and peace and dove. And I don't know what else to do for people because I'm frustrated with it all. And when you try and discuss it with people, people don't want to discuss it. They don't want to hear it. They're tired of listening, or they just want to go out and be and put their head in the sand. But this is where we need to, I feel, when you know this is where the course of actions that we need to take are to stand in our power, or stand in our light. And that, to me, is the most important thing through this all. What? Not right now. Can I just finish what I'm doing? Thank you. Child. So this is where Mama's on a roll. Don't be bugging me. This is where we need to really stay and be grounded. And when you hesitate and get stuck in the hesitation, that's where you can fall off the road. So if you're hesitant about something, you really have to trust and stay upon the road that is right for you, and stay on that road. And it's so important for you to stay on that road for this. Oh, okay. And then someone just wrote to me that they rewatched my video and now they can hear me on my video, Instagram video, but they couldn't hear me when I was talking on it. How does that work? I don't know. I don't know. So things that we can do. One, physical things that we can do is one, to make sure that you are stocked up on food and things like that. That's one. Make sure that you do have, and if you're able to get a generator or find a place where you can, instead of understanding that negative things happen and ignoring the existence, doesn't it keep you any more positive? Yeah. The projects, they project onto you and say you are being negative. Yes. Instead of understanding that the negative things happen and ignoring the existence. Yes, exactly. And it's wonderful to be in your world. It's wonderful to understand I want to be in my world. I want to stay, this is in focus on my family and focus on the good things in my life. And that's exactly what we want you to do. But we also want you to be in a position where you, if you're able to bring in, extra food, be able to have an alternate space where you could go. So let's say something, hypothetically saying, let's say all the electricity gets cut off. And since we are going into the fall and winter equinox, so let's say that does happen. Have an alternate place of where you could go. And what you need to be aware of. So maybe there's a family member, or maybe there's some other people that you could go by and, join in your resources. So bring in, joint resources. So it's this alternative plan. Doesn't mean it's going to be activated, but it's there. It's there just in case, and this is where it's like, also looking at, other things that are going on where, okay, Christmas is 4 months away. I know we don't want to talk about Christmas, but maybe focus on now is like not so much focusing on the big things for Christmas. Maybe start looking at, okay, what are the little things that I can start preparing now for Christmas? It sounds like maybe it's just 4 months away, but then you're prepared and you're not going to be looking at all the shortages that may be happening. I mean, Kamala Harris is in Singapore right now. begging Singapore to be able to bring in Christmas toys and making sure that the productions in China continue on. And I'm like, and China is like, there's shipping rates, there's containers, and China stronghold, the Chinese stronghold that they have on the United States and Canada. So it's like basically fuck you. Not that Kamala Harris is on our behalf, but we probably have a candidate or somebody there also, saying, okay, we still need to get some imports. The other thing, why did our prime minister start an election on the day Afghanistan got taken over? That's the other thing. I thought that was weird. So this is where we need to look at, and we're going to be having more intel reports that are going to be coming out on COVID. There's a report that's going to be coming out on the origin of COVID. So more shattered reality is going to be coming in for us, and we have to be aware. And there's information out there for people. There's information out there, and you just have to, some of it gets hidden. Some of it's not so much it gets hidden, it gets lost in the stacks of paper, and people are like, oh, well, this must be true because it's at the top. Not necessarily, just because it's at the top. So this is for us to really, again, you have to do the work. And I also, because I looked into, somebody said, well, it's not, the FDA did not approve the Pfizer vaccine. And they're right. They didn't, because Pfizer changed the name of the vaccine. They changed the name to Carmidia or something like that. What a weird name. Something like that. They changed the name. So from Pfizer Biotech, whatever. So they changed the name of the vaccine. The vaccine still has to go underneath a 4-year study, but just because but the study isn't under the FDA, Pfizer is doing the study. So the facts aren't coming back in an impartial manner. And they've done some trials on 44,000 people. 22,000 got the placebo. The other 22,000 got the vaccine. More people died with the vaccine that they followed. And then they stopped following the placebo people, and only 6%. All right. Dr. Fauci's wife approved. So this is where, when you look at it, and it's still under the EUA, which has to do with the Emergency Act. So she's the big shot on the FDA. Yeah. And there's so many correlations with everything that people have to be aware of. And with these clinical trials that are being on, and there is they have to have a 6-month safety data, but they don't have the 6-month safety data, or even to find it, or even for you, if something does go wrong, you have no recourse on this. Sorry, you can't go back and sue them because of this. There is in Ireland, there's at a mortuary during 2020, and he was doing a chat with people, and he says in 2020 the body count seemed to be pretty much okay. Like nothing what he was doing in the pickups he was doing at the mortuary weren't anything to what was being published in the news. But when the shot started coming out and people started getting painted, their arms painted, things started to skyrocket. And they started to skyrocket with people ages 30, 40, and 50. Mainly the pickups that he was starting to come in were heart attack and heart issues. And so he started asking, what, were they vaccinated? And he says the people were getting, get offended. It has nothing to do with the vaccination. It was a heart attack. But the correlation was there where this is just a guy who works at a mortuary, who picks up dead bodies, and it's finding that, okay, there's a lot of heart attack issues. And astrologically, especially around 40 years old, you're having your Uranus opposition, which has to, which is about your nervous system. So Uranus is in Taurus, which is going to trigger nervous systems even more, opposite Scorpio. So you're having, because people around 40, early 50s have Uranus in their Scorpio. And so you're having this opposition, and this opposition has issues to do with your nervous issues. And instead of you going out and being crazy because of a midlife crisis. So we have people are having heart attacks, and their system is being overloaded. Now that's just an astrological look at it and looking at that demographics of what's going on. So we have this, and it has nothing. And also with when you are getting it, the insert with it is mainly blank. And there might be, I think, 3 things on it where it says insufficient evidence on pregnancy, breastfeeding, and no information on male fertility. And they're finding spike proteins in men's testicles after the vaccination. So all of this is coming to this big ugly pimple it's being pushed. And I don't know if you ever watched The Pimple Doctor, and she has to sometimes sort of wiggle the skin around to get all of this stuff out. Yeah, this has a really deep root that is coming out. We're not going to get all of the root, but September and October are going to be, and I get the word hellish for us. So we have to be aware. We have to be aware in what we need to do. And with all the quincunxes coming in this weekend, which makes people unaware, you feel you don't know what the answer is. You're all over the place, and it's frustrating. So people are angry, people are upset. So this is, even today, what am I going to do today? I'm going over to a girlfriend's place and having coffee. I'm going over and we're going to spend some time, and we're going to have some coffee, and we are going to just chat. Pop it already. Raylene's like, pop that thing. Get it out of there. Yeah. Yes, pop it already. But the shattered reality and the other things that I predicted, I honestly believe and can see it's inevitable. It's inevitable with what I've seen. Now, each time it's different. 1 was in the trenches, 2 was in big machinery, planes, boats, ships out there, torpedoes. This is more of a psychological one. And this is where things can come in a psychological way, and more of a hand-to-hand combat. So more of a physical one and a mental one. And that physical and mental one. So this could be, and we might see cutting off, as I say, cutting off electricity, an EMP strike, which is what solar flares can do. But they can actually set an EMP strike off in the air. And that means all computers, everything digital, cars, your fridge, stoves, things like that could be gone. And that would take over a year. So they can dismantle things like that. We've already seen how these attacks can happen. I mean, just by cutting off the gas pipelines, so things like that can happen. The other thing and I was listening to a few Texans, and they were just commenting recently that why is there so many men crossing our border from Mexico than women? And that I found very interesting. And then I found out the stats are 90% men to 10% women crossing the US Mexican border. So that's another interesting factor. So there's a lot of heaviness that's coming in. Will there be terror attacks on American soil? I'm going to say yes. Will there be terror attacks coming in Canada? In different ways. I think Trudeau has his hands pretty down deep in somebody's fucking pocket and playing with their balls. And if it's not, and the thing is, if it's not Trudeau, I don't trust O'Toole. Because he's just as bad. He might come off quite sweet and everything else, but he's walking a line right now where he doesn't want to cross it because he doesn't want to seem like Trudeau. And the NDP dude is just in Trudeau's back pocket and sucking ass. You know, and I mean, the Green Party and everything else. I mean, that's just, they don't really, they can't make too much of a change. They're not there on the world front. So this is where, when it comes to your local government, and here in Calgary, we've got 157 candidates, what the fuck, running, this is where we have to look at what kind of changes that we need to make. And I do see small communities banding together, right? And banding together on this. And this is what has to happen. And I feel sorry because I know a lot of people who have been double jabbed, and I bless you and I honor what you have done. But I worry for it because of the things that are in it. And they're also finding out too is that even with it, it's a 1%, you get a 1% better chance now. It's just 1%. It's not that 1% where things have been changed around and things are misrepresented in order for people to abide by this. And when you watch a president, I mean, even Canada looks to the United States for guidance, as stupid as that is, but we do. And you look at a president who came on last night and even says, oh, I hope it works out, knock on wood. Like, what the fuck? And who stumbles through words, who can't even complete sentences. It's fucked. It's fucked, people. That's why light has to come in. That's why saying your rosaries, saying your prayers, doing what you need to do is so vitally important. There is something to say when you get a group together to pray, when you get a group together to bring forth, even, because I'm looking at my rosary, even to say the rosary, a group to come together. There's power in that. Even if you're not so much there, you can message somebody, oh, at 3:00, I'm going to do my rosary. And the other person, okay, I'm going to do my rosary at 3:00. You don't have to be saying it, right next door, but that energy of that person over there is saying it. And that energy of that person over there is saying it. That's power. That's anchoring that light. The reason why I'm putting, my angel alchemies up there the reason why it was so important for me to get the angel alchemy out there and what my guides told me was because it's a medicine wheel, and activating that medicine wheel, because the activation of the medicine wheel is anchoring the angels into Gaia and bringing that energy of Gaia here, anchoring that beautiful energy here so we can activate the angelic energies so they can be here to protect us. So that's why it's so important. The female archaeas are coming in because they are the counterpart of the male archangels, and they're bringing in this activation for us to be able to allow ourselves to step into that intuition of who we are as human beings and be able to and step into our intuition to allow that to flow so that we are able to be open to it, to be able to be guided through this and help us to light things up, because it is the women who are the keepers of the earth. It is the women who are the teachers of the men. And that's our role. That's our role. So taking up that role taking up that role is getting us to pull out what isn't light and bring in what is light. And that's our goal, and that's what our role is. And our roles as being human and in this humanitarian energy of coming in, which is what the age of Aquarius is. To every sign has a positive and has a negative. We want to work at the positive side of Aquarius. The negative side of Aquarius is totalitarian. That's what the negative sign of Aquarius is. We don't want that. We want the positive side. We want the communities. We want us to be within those communities so that you are able to be the individual that you are, to shine brightly and beautiful and have a choice of what you want to do. Do you want to eat tomatoes today, or do you want to eat asparagus, or do you want to have them both? It's up to you. It's up to you. But you have those choices. Not just one choice and say, no, you're only allowed to have tomatoes today. And they're only red tomatoes. You're not allowed to have those pretty black tomatoes over there, or those really nice light green, yellow tomatoes. No, you're only allowed to have these tomatoes. You can't have any other variety. We're not giving you that choice. So today, say your prayers. Call a friend. Talk to your cat. Go out and hug a tree. Ground yourself. And get ready. We're coming into some crazy, fucked up energies that are really going to take us for a ride. Be conscious on how you are wanting to cast your vote, and how you want to be heard, and how you want to be seen. Sending you guys out so much love. Looking at my I have to get going. So I'm going to send you out so much love. My auction is on. I have quite a few items up there right now. There will be an evening auction as well. Take a look at it. Spread the word. Help support me in what I'm doing. I really, really do need your support in what I am doing. And I'm sending you out so much love, everybody. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for those who stayed to listen. And blessings to you all. Have a great day. Honestly, have a great day. Blessings, everybody.